What this video is about is things that I have done and ended up with results. I'm not going to give you any results. I will show you that there's an egg next to a block. Actually, it could be on the end of a cement truck. One with a point, one with a round. This one is turning this whole thing around. They have to put a point or it'd be too large to put the chain for no reason at all. Gearing it up over here. These parts over here are rollers that'll let the world turn. Now, I just saw a video before in which somebody showed me 3 different parts, and where Europe was turning the opposite of us. It's almost like our sphere that we are is separated in 2, and Europe is going a different way in some way. The only reason I say this is because when I flush my toilet, it goes this way. When they flush their toilet, it goes the other way. It all has to do with the reason for magnetics. Rubik's Cube had to be here because Rubik's Cube is this world. Everything is perfect. 1 and 1 is 2. 2 and 4 is 6. You get in your car, you put 4 tires on the floor, you slam on the gas, and it starts to go. So we made everything to work. Things that work we call 10. Why do we call them 10? Because 10 is between 10 and 20. When you get to 20, it's a 10 away from 10 and 10. And it's always 10 away from 10. But you always got to keep between the train tracks. So it'll be 10, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 10. And again, what this is here, okay, here's the Magen David. We're sitting inside this bigger world here. I'd like to put it upside down this way because I put 2 pyramid blocks here. 1 pyramid block here, 1 pyramid block here that keeps these from roving or moving. I wasn't going to show you this. This is the Pontiac image. We are said to be living right here. And if you take a look at it, it's got a diamond shape and the Superman shape. And this is 622.6. It's also 25,625. At the same time, we're going to end up getting the hockey rink and the Monopoly board out of this. But this is only one shape. One shape. The same card. So what was I going to say about this? Not much. I was going to talk about and tell you what do I do. First of all, I found out that we seem to all be running on the level of 40 and 60. I only saw 1 picture and 1 image. If I didn't misread it, 40, that's what you get in tennis after you get 15, 15, and 10. 60 is the game. 6 and 4 is everything. It's east and west on your telephone. I also do piano from left to right and right to left. What the keys can possibly mean otherwise. Don't forget, 52 white, 36 black. 36 is creation into the 10 world. Why? Because 2 by 5 is 10. 2 plus 5 is 7. You have the 7 world and the 10 world right there in the same numbers. So you know we're pieced together. The other thing I do try to resolve, where is that page? I just had the page. And these are some things I look into. Numbers, metric time, temperatures, where Celsius, anywhere from 0 to 100 or minus, will always equal a 5, 14, or 23 when added up to 2 numbers or less down to 5. I also do liters in the U.S., and one of the reasons the U.S. is not running on our metric system is all because of the in-between numbers. When you pick up a metric key, an Allen key or whatever other kinds of keys that you use to repair your cars, they won't be the same size, therefore it's an in-between frequency. You can see it any way you want. I also do the reason for AC/DC. It's a triangle. Everything is acceleration and deceleration. AC/DC. When you're, I do the Monopoly, I do the elements. There's 200 elements or 160. I've played only a little bit, so I can always go back. I study the cards. I do animals, I do shapes, I do where animals live and their pregnancies. I do colors and how colors come out and fixate things. The horse races. You go to the horse races, 1 and 1 in both racetracks, red. The 2 horses, blue or white, and it's funny because in pool the 2 is also white. On this angle, or the Olympics, when you go in for the Olympics, 2 and 3 or 3 and 2. They really don't look at it. It doesn't matter because 2 and 3 are still up there. So I also do the chess game, which is 32 and 32. So talking about 24 hours, add 1/4 of the time, or 1/3. We are 1/3, right? 1/3 of 1/4. So add 1/3 back to the 24 hours, which is 8. Now we got 32 hours. Now we have the chessboard. The 1/4 of the mind that we're not receiving, we're losing 8 hours a day. So we lost from 32 to 24 hours. And that reminds me, in time cube, it's 4 by 24 hours is 96. But I believe it's 3 days and then 1 day instead of 4 days. Why 3 days? Well, 3 days of 32 hours is 96 also. 3 by 32. 3 by 9 and 3 by 2. 69, the reverse of everything, a lot better off than 2 and 4, don't you think? 2 and 4 is the space within which we move. 2 plus 4 is the 6, and 2 times 4 is the 8. And at some points, I'm tended to think that's man and woman, because woman is 6, plus she needs the 2 again in order to have the children. Man is just 2 and 4, Mars and Venus. Woman has to be 2 of Venus because she has to have the uterus of Venus. And she has to pluck out the babies. There was someone talking about chickens flying in the air. Do you know what these chickens are? Why does everybody take all the words literally? A chicken, chick, a peck, a peep, the talk, the cock-a-doodle-doo that the chicken does. It's almost like putting a chicken on your head, and he's dripping in. He's got a thing inside your ear over here, and he's listening to everything you say. Birds on a wire, birds on your head, hot wire on your head, stealing the information, birds. Fish, what can fish be? Well, inside electricity it moves. They're little fish inside the electrical wire. What do you want to call them? When you shove a wire down your toilet to unplug it, you call it a fish. So another reason to understand what a fish is, or a fichier, which means my papers. What else was I going to talk about? There's always so much. So I do that. I do the standard alphabet. I'll try it out in Greek. I'll try it out in Spanish. I'll go into Russian. I will go into English, French. I'll study the owl because it's very special, the owl. The fox is very special. The word law, backwards, is a wall. In French, the word law is loi, L-O-I, but that backwards is oil. So now if we're thinking about oil, think of all the people that make oil, and then go back to the basics. The Tin Man. It started to rain, and he couldn't walk anymore. He needed to be oiled to be able to move his joints. Joint, we are joined together. How does the earth turn? How does the earth work? Why is it 32 hours? Well, 3 days of 32 hours, 1 day of 32 hours, and 3 days of 32 hours. That's 7 days. But all we're getting is 168 hours. We're missing 56 hours. And you know where those hours are going? 56 is the number of the wolf. That's how they're stealing our information, through the electronics of that number. That number is also a number of 2 moons, 28 and 28, 56. It's so funny that the word moon alone is 57, which is just like Heinz ketchup. And it's so funny that Heinz, H-I, same letter sideways, and Z, same letter sideways. If you add up these letters without the E, it also adds up to 57. Add the E, it's 62. Card, game, queen, all the things that have to do with games, all have to do with the queen. Did we come into this world? Are we living in the matrix? Where we come from a tritennial world, which is 3 corners. So once you take 3 corners, okay, there's 3 corners, and we come into this game that has 3 corners. We shove our corner here. Now we got 4 corners. Now we got the game, but this is not real. Here's the game. One part of the game is here, and one part of the game is here, because they have taken away our connection between the spirit and the soul. And that is the time difference, and that is what I'm going to find out in metric time. Because right now, I see in metric time that it is 15 hours a day. This is one scenario of 64 minutes in an hour, equaling to 96 minutes, because there are 90 seconds in a minute and not 60. That's where I think we're getting screwed. All by the second, my friend. All by the second. Raphael, 7286, in the constellation of Pegasus. If you have any questions, if you're stuck on something, you don't understand something, well, guess what? I don't understand everything, or everything at all, or maybe I don't understand anything at all. I do know I will jump into something, and I will pickpocket whatever it is to find all the elements and the meanings within. It's only when we start comparing it and making coincidences that start off as general and become more important once we start to see the finite difference between the two. And it's the difference between the two. The null and void that doesn't exist is everything between the two, and more than the two completely, because it brings the two together by centralizing a point between the two, making a void or a noid or a zoid or whatever you want to call it, or a zero, having the biggest value of all, because in the circle of life is everything, because it's all included in the circle. Now we can say it again, Raphael, 72. 86 in the constellation of Pegasus. We don't want to forget the good old lamb. Say hello, lamb.